And here's the point, I'm getting a bit of a long-winded explanation that I don't know if you've encountered this, but Scientologists occasionally have a strange phenomena called a sense of humor. Have you ever experienced that?
I have, yes.
Okay. Okay, R2-45.
Yes.
What do you think he's talking about?
Shooting people with a Colt 45.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard a clip, actually, from someone recently put online a clip from, I don't know if you've listened to the 20th Melbourne Advanced Clinical Course?
Yeah.
And there's a quote where he says that the cops or gangsters could make it clear by taking a Webley 38 or a Smith & Wesson or a Colt and shooting somebody, and that would exteriorize them.
Exactly.
And doing R2-45. So
the point he's
right
about
there.
to make is that was a joke.
No, I'm not saying that was.
Well, I've heard it was a joke.
No, I'm not saying it's a joke, but I'm saying this. I think in the book when he's talking about R2-45, to me it's obviously a joke.
In the book, it's a joke.
But it's a joke. But if from the way we look at life, we believe we are spiritual beings. We have a soul, or what are you going to call it? And you're in a body. If you get shot with a Colt 45 or a 22 air rifle or whatever,
it's going to leave your body.
Well, yeah, except it's not your thing, But anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, the thing. It's really it's the thing.
What about those SP declares sometimes?
Yeah.
But anyway, does that at least partially explain that to you? Or?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I understand what R2-45 is. I just want to hear it out of your mouth.
But here's the thing, right? If we Catherine doesn't agree with that, that's fine. But to me.
Well, I agree that it might have been a joke when he wrote it in the book, but what my problem is...
But hang on, we'll get into this in a sec, but just on the R2-45, so I like to try not to leave things open, otherwise we don't get anything resolved, it's not pointless. But I guess it's a little bit hard for me to believe, like if you look at all of the grueling investigations being done in Scientology, like, just for our IRS tax status, as I'm sure you know, like that went on for donkey's years, like I was involved with it. Literally filing cabinets full of documents and investigation. The IRS interviewed, I don't know if they personally interviewed Larry Brennan, but they interviewed people like him in the church, out of the church, If there was some serious idea or belief that, L. Ron Hubbard wrote a thing saying, kill people with a 45 and it'll exteriorize them, and that was something we were supposed to do. There's two things. One is, somebody by now would have, got some evidence and made some serious fuss about it, other than just a joke kind of fuss. And the other thing is, in the entire history of Scientology, one of the things Catherine and I were talking about yesterday is, well, you kill people, okay. And then you get into what does that mean, and who did we kill, and, I personally, as I'm sure killed Sean Mansell, and blah, 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 blah. But when have we ever, do you have any record anywhere of all the people in the entire history of Scientology who've been criticizing or attacking or anything like that, right? Where do we have any one tiny piece of evidence that anybody was even threatened with a Colt 45 or...
Death. Have you seen this before?
Who's
This is an ethics order.
Yeah.
Actually down here, I think it's cut off, but it says L. Ron Hubbard down
here.
Yeah,
okay, it's fine.
Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, a bunch of stuff off the internet is kind of
This was from 1968, and these are people... And he declared them suppressive persons. So this is an SP declared.
Yeah.
And this was for stealing upper level materials, and distributing them to people. And here you have a bunch of things.
The names, because I might know some. No.
Okay. Well, here it says it has a list of things. They are declared enemies of mankind, the planet, and all life. They are fair game. No amnesty may ever cover them. If they ever come to a cold division, they are to be run on reverse processes. Any Sea Org member contacting any of them is to use auditing process R2-45.
Right.
The Criminals Prosecution Bureaus find any and all crimes in their past and have them brought to court and prison. So, would you say that this is a serious document?
I've never seen it before, and I have seen...
There's another one. This is the same thing, just smaller. This was actually submitted to a court.
Yeah.
This is an exhibit.
Okay.
That one has it.
Yeah. Here, have you seen this? This is a magazine. It was called Auditor 37.
Yeah.
Here, you have something very similar.
Oh, it's the same thing, right?
Different
Basically,
people here. And it also says that any Sea Org member contacting any of them is to use auditing process R2-45. And would you say that this is a serious thing? That this, I mean.
Well, let's say it's.
That is
let's say
in like the
real
ethics stuff. That is listed as a high crime.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
And
let's say it's a real document.
Okay.
Let's say it's a real document. I don't know. I actually haven't seen this before, and I've seen lots and lots of documents. Right.
Well, there are lots of people who have
authenticated.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, let's say it is, right? So if this is a real document, and if that means R2-45 means shoot them, what do you think that means?
Well, it sounds like he's saying
go
shoot them.
Yeah.
If you come in contact with them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, like, you know, everything you can sort of see in some kind of grayscale. I mean, there's either things are this, or they're that, or they're somewhere in between, right? So let's look right out on the far end of the scale.
Okay.
So the absolute worst possibility is that this means what it says, and it means L. Ron Hubbard said those people are so bad, if you see them, shoot them on sight, right?
Right.
So that's kind of like the absolute worst possibility. So, what, do you think so? Or is there anything worse than that? I mean,
I would say that's
pretty
very bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. And that is the worst possible way to interpret that. I mean, there may be other things. There may be like in the research of auditing, as you may or may not know. You know, why is it called R2-45? Where's R2-44? What's R2-10? What's L10? What's L11?
R2-44 is in here.
Yeah. But do you know what it is?
What's R2-41? R2-44. It's must and must not happen.
Right.
These are just processes that you run on people when you're auditing.
Yeah. This is my only point, right? And look, there's the worst way to look at it, and then there's all sorts of in-betweens. For example, like, you know, the L's, L10, 11, and 12. You know what they are?
Are you familiar with
L
them?
means for list, right? You do list 10, 11, and 12. If you go into one of our buildings and say, hi, I'm here to start my L's. You know, I've been a Scientology for 10 years, I want to do my L's. They'll go, okay. Every single person will do L11, list 11, then they'll do list 10, and then they'll do list 12. And you can ask any of your, ask Larry Brennan or anybody that knows anything about Scientology. You'll do list 11, then you'll do list 10, then you'll do list 12. It's because when they were being researched, and this isn't even a significant example, I'm just giving you a sort of an example, right? It used to be list 10, 11, and 12. Then in the research, they were doing it for a while, and then they figured, oh, it's actually better to do them the other way around. But instead of changing the name, they just changed the sequence, so it's list 11.
I'm trying to get at that the meaning of R2-45 may have been changed since the originally.
I'm only saying maybe. I actually don't know. Maybe. But what I'm saying is if we look at the absolute worst possible scenario, right? The worst possible scenario is that LRH meant what he said he meant. You know, see these people don't shoot them on sight.
Well, I haven't seen any evidence that would show that he wasn't being serious.
Yeah, okay. Me neither.
What is your personal interpretation of that? Do you have one?
Not really, because I don't know. I've been in Scientology for 30 years. I've seen all sorts of things, and I've heard all sorts of things. I've heard all sorts of people make claims and allegations, and then sometimes when you investigate it, it's a little bit like that, or it's more like that, or it's sometimes like that, you know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think there's maybe more to it. I, personally, just because I know Scientology and Scientologists, I don't believe L. Ron Hubbard is saying, you know, that guy's supposed to go and shoot him. I don't believe that. But I'm willing to entertain the possibility he might have meant that.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Let's look at the worst possible thing. The worst possible thing is he meant that. He meant, you know, that guy is so evil and so suppressive, just because we don't like him, you know, go and shoot him. Well, if that's the case, and we're sort of just sort of extrapolating on the worst possible, do we know of anybody that ever got shot? Like, these names?
No, none of these people were ever shot.
Right.
But there's also nothing that says they ever were heard from again, that were ever contacted.
I'm sure. I mean, you know, I'm sure. It's not hard to research people these days. I'm sure you could Google those.
And of course, these were people, the people that would be reading this, I think, would be people who are in the Sea Org. And I don't think if these people had an SP declare against them, I doubt they would ever go back to
Didn't
so they probably didn't get shot.
Call at Cooper's doorstep with a Colt 45?
Yeah.